Hello, everyone. My name is Bill, and I am an addict. It's an honor and a privilege to be asked to share my experience. Not only my story, but this program and fellowship, the people, the relationships that I've built in it, the path, the journey that I've been on through it, and the steps that saved my life 100%. I would not, I do not believe my life would look anything like what it is now. I might still have a beating heart and be sucking air, but I would be a zombie and dead in one way, shape, or form. I was, in a lot of ways, for a very long time throughout my active addiction, which was about 25 years. To qualify a little bit, I started, my chaos. This disease was affecting my life from the very beginning of my life, from my very first memories of abuse, alcoholism, drug addiction, trauma, all that stuff. I started getting loaded when I was 12. It seemed like it was a really good idea. Everybody around me was really excited to do it. It was like a fish in the water. Lots of trouble, lots of laughs, lots of handcuffs, lots of prison and jail bids, prison bids. I lost both my parents while incarcerated, and that still wasn't enough to, break this curse and this disease, because I got a little fucker running around in my head that tells me it's a good idea to do a lot of this stupid shit, or that I can somehow get away with it, that somehow I'll get back. And that was, the first step of admitting that I was powerless over my addiction and that my life had become unmanageable. Well, it's a funny thing. It's like, imagine being so good at something that I get to go to a room and sit in a circle and talk about it for the rest of my life. And it's a privilege to be able to come to this room and sit in a circle and talk about not only the pain and all the stuff I got in here, but how I deal with that. And that's funny, that battle. Like I was under attack by this disease mentally from the very beginning of my life. And I realized that I was very alone. I had this enormous void inside me that I was trying to fill with anything I could fucking think of. A lot of it was drugs and alcohol. And I thought I was going to be like my father, who was a bad alcoholic. And my idea was that I'm just going to do it better than he did. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to figure out a way to party and to escape and have fun, and this isn't going to lead to all the crazy, problems that he had and that, this, that, and the other thing. Well, like admitting to myself that I'm powerless, like I keep losing. The streets are undefeated. That shit is killing people left and right as I speak right now. Somebody's dying from this shit, you know? And in a few seconds it'll be gone. And it's going to keep staying that way. This shit's crazy. And admitting that I'm powerless over that, it draws you, my addiction, the way that my addiction presents itself in the way that I live my life. Well, I'm grateful I really saw the first step in that. And it took a long time to get there, and it's a daily reprieve. Like, I have to stay in that. I have to continue to keep confessing to myself that I can't use. Like, successfully using for me is dying, because I can't live in any semblance of a productive or what I consider a productive and meaningful life. The rest of the steps bring me to that, but I can't do both. Like, it's just, I'm done. And so surrendering to that is a big part of the first step. Like, again, I'm grateful as hell to be here. Sometimes I don't want to go to a meeting. I have a meeting to attend today. There are still many people suffering. I've buried a lot of friends. I've buried a lot of people I didn't really know. I hear about people dying all the time. Many people are not fortunate enough to have that choice or opportunity to be in these rooms or in the rooms like this. And so having that first step is a part of my recovery. The second step, I came to believe that a power greater than myself can restore me to sanity. There are a lot of powers greater than me. The ocean is greater than me. The universe is greater than me. My higher power is greater than me. And the first step in that is, I have a higher power and I'm not it. There's a lot of inspiration in this world. I've also learned through my work in this program that there are many powers greater than me that aren't necessarily good. They're not necessarily positive in the world. I have a lot of those things possessing me, influencing me, whatever, manipulating me. I have my direction. My moral compass was really fucked up and broken for a very long time, and it was tough for me to see a lot of things. So, coming to believe implies a process. Coming to believe, it doesn't happen overnight. It can happen to some people, but it's a journey that unfolds over time. It's a progressive thing. It is something that I can actively work on. So, like, I choose to call my higher power God, but I'm not religious. I'm not really into a lot of those constructs and everything like that. I've developed a spirituality throughout the course of my recovery. And just for a lack of a common denominator with a lot of people and ideas and stuff like that, I choose to call it God. Good orderly direction or a group of drug addicts. I get a lot of great inspiration from people in these rooms. I believe that, it's all part of my higher power. I'm listening to something outside of myself. And that, gave way to the third step, which is we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him, as I understood Him. My relationship with my higher power, which I choose to call God, is a personal one. Everyone else has their journey. They come to believe in whatever they come to believe in. But making a decision was an essential part of my step work and my relationship with my sponsor. Because now I'm allowing something else in. Because I don't know if you know it, if you were anything like me, I thought I fucking knew everything for a very long time. And if I didn't know it, I pretended I did. Or I pretended like it didn't matter. Or I think, just all of this crazy bullshit in my head. But in a long story short, it's not just me. I'm trying to let something else in. And I'm making the decision now. That doesn't mean I do it right away. That doesn't mean it works perfectly 24/7. It doesn't mean all of a sudden, for me, that all of a sudden I've got this and everything's great. It doesn't, it's a journey to travel. It's something that I can aim at. And in my understanding of my higher power today, it's something that I've oriented myself towards. That is, quite frankly, a lot more like the opposite of the way I used to live my life, which is extremely self-centered, incredibly blind to really giving a fuck about much of anything, including myself. I didn't care about my health. I barely brushed my teeth. I barely washed my ass. I spent all the money. I didn't have any extra money, and I spent my rent money on drugs. I didn't even care. My life sucked. I wanted to pretend like I had it together at certain times, but my life sucked, for a very long time. Even if I lied to you and said I gave a shit about my family or the people around me in my heart, I wanted to believe that. I really did. And I would do what I could. But I was in a position to actually do it, to even really care, to really prioritize my responsibility, my adoption and assumption of responsibility for my own life, my accountability to myself. I had no relationship with God whatsoever. And I believe that by finding a higher power and discovering God, I can start doing that in my life today, in recovery. When it came to, it says in one of our readings, my inability to accept personal responsibility. Like I wasn't able to look at that and really understand what it meant. It means examining my life and the roles I play, as well as the roles of the people around me, my family, my friends, my employers, everything else, and really, trying to find my place in it without drugs and alcohol. And that, that relationship opens up when I'm allowing other ideas and suggestions, following the rules. taking the steps and making an effort to do things a bit better than I used to. I'm allowing some other things in my life that are less chaotic than they were, which was putting out fires. It was just trying to get the next one. It was an attempt to avoid getting in trouble. It was trying to make it to the next day without getting caught, without dying, without getting busted or being evicted, all that. It was just this constant state of, well, it's a state of like trying to fix, manage, and control everything. It's like being in a survival mode. I was in survival mode my entire life, from the very beginning of my life. And what I learned made me decide to allow some other ideas to enter my mind. Then I was ready with my sponsor to look at myself and start the process of taking an inventory of myself, which I had created by searching for a fearless inventory of myself. That's what the fourth step is. It got me for a while. It gets a lot of people. And I'm grateful to have had a chance to work through that inventory. Being completely fearless in it is quite an undertaking. I'm full of fear. I'm full of fears about drugs today. I don't care what I look like. I'm a scared little boy inside. I started drinking and drugging when I was a little kid. I mostly matured much past that. I might look like and I might sound like an asshole. I might put up a good front, but I'm really just a scared, insecure little boy. That's like getting high to try to run away. That's just fucking the truth. I'd take my insecurities out on you if I thought you wanted to hurt me, even in recovery. You know what I mean? Fuck you real quick. I've always felt like that. I know that today because I can pause. I didn't have a pause button in creating more chaos, drama, pain, and bullshit. And being an asshole, I'm still an asshole. It's just that I have a better way of coping with it today. But that whole process of writing, of working the steps, but getting honest with myself, my inventory doesn't change regardless of the circumstances. Everything that has happened before today has already happened. There's nothing I can think about. There's not a single thing I would change about anything that has happened before today. Being honest with myself is the first part of growing from it. I was a broken person. I did not care about myself properly. In my estimation today, I didn't care about other people either. There's a lot of pain. There are numerous letdowns in that inventory. There really were. And being able to look at it and process it with the help of my higher power. Moving forward in the recovery process is an important step. I encourage anyone new to this process or in the midst of it to look forward to revisiting and refining it. I didn't work that, and the conversations that I have with my sponsor, which is one of the most beautiful things I've come to experience in this journey, is having someone to talk to that really knows my pain and my problems and my chaos, but also how far I've come. There are many things that I learned about myself during my fourth step, which I'm proud of, including the fact that I have assets. I can care even when I don't want to care. I just thought I'm not very good at it, but I want to be a productive member of society. I want to take care of myself. I want to be able to show up and support my pain. I don't want to take my insecurities out on people, I really don't. But I will. I'll hurt people. I won't even want to, but I will. And it's just being able to sit down and look at those things, see the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent, and having some direction to honestly assess them. It takes time, it takes work, and it's not a race. I encourage anyone to do it at their own pace with the guidance of their own higher power. I encourage everyone to work the steps. It's the foundation of our program. This is a 12-step program. And the people I know who work the steps, I've never heard anybody say, "Man, I really wish I didn't work the steps." Never. It's a journey that I couldn't even begin to try to describe, and I'm not going to sit here and try. I can't do that. I can tell you how it's worked for me, and I'm genuinely grateful. It's a massive part of my life. I don't believe I would be where I am without the program of Narcotics Anonymous and keep the relationships that I've formed in it and having a relationship with God today. Again, it's a privilege to be here. I'm grateful to see every single one of you here, despite the fact that we could all be somewhere else right now. It's truly a blessing to be here. Thank you for listening. If you took anything from it, I'm grateful and thank you for letting me share.